All right, I am joined by Ashley Trabue today. Ashley is a queer Southern born multidisciplinary artist and educator currently based in Portland, Maine. Her chapbook, Vertebrae, was published by Dancing Girl Press in 2019, and her artwork is held in private collections internationally and exhibited and published in places like the 21C Museum Hotel, Art Design Consultants, and Nashville Review. Ashley is the founder of Creative Self Love Club, an online coaching community for creatives struggling with perfectionism, and is the creator of Take Back Your Body, a project that supports radical self acceptance through the painting process. They create as a way to connect to their inner world and embrace all the disparate parts they find. Welcome, Ashley.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me, Katie.
I am so excited to chat with you today because we're going to talk about one of your projects that I think is so fun. And it's one of the things that I found through your TikTok, which is the Shitty Art Challenge. Could you please tell us a little bit about the Shitty Art Challenge?
Yeah, so the Shitty Art Challenge challenges you to basically have an experiment, right? Where you, for 30 days or for a container of time that you decide in the challenge, I propose 30 days, you play with the concept of lowering your standards, letting go of the quality of your art just for fun, and leaning into the quantity of art made. So I say to shift focus from the quality of art to the quality of your experience. And what a lot of folks find is that when you give yourself permission to just show up and play, even if it's bad, is one, you have a lot more fun. Two, you finish a lot more of what you start because the standard is so low. And then three, because you were just showing up and finishing things, you find your voice. You discover what kind of aesthetic you really like, and you build confidence in yourself to show up when you say you're going to show up. So that self-trust piece really starts coming through.
Absolutely. And that self trust piece is so important. I think that that's probably one of those pieces, I would say, in sort of my own journey, it's one of those pieces where I didn't know it was missing until I started to do this work and started to recognize, oh, okay, these are ways where I can very easily reestablish that self trust. And I think that that is such an important aspect. Do you ever have people who come to you and say, I want to try the Shitty Art Challenge, but I don't know, I don't identify as an artist, or I want to create, but I have no idea what I want to create. I just feel like I have this sort of creative void in my world. Like, do you ever get that sort of approach from somebody? And how would you sort of respond to that?
Yeah, so definitely the first person, right? The person who's like, no, I don't really consider myself an artist, but I am drawn to create or I'm drawn to make things, but I haven't given myself permission to lean in because I'm not an artist, right? I'm not talented. I haven't been told by an adult as a child that I have, gifts. And so to that person, it's absolutely, I've worked with folks like that. And so it's just a game of what is sparking curiosity for you? It's old pastels or it's photos of birds or it's writing. And so doing the Shitty Art Challenge with that as your container. The second person, remind me again what you said in regards to them. They don't feel drawn to anything. There's like a void.
Like they feel like they want to express themselves creatively, but they don't really know how.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So for that person, it's like a game of one, noticing all the ways that you're already expressing throughout your day. Like, right, like you followed a recipe, but you tweaked it slightly. And so I'd be like, add that to the list. Or like you're in the car with your bestie and you like make up a silly song about the person crossing the street because it like sparks imagination in you. Notice the way that you're already creating. And two, as you are logging that, something happens in your brain, right? The reticulator activating system starts to notice because you've prioritized like scanning your environment for acts of creativity. It starts noticing that more. And what you're going to start finding is that your intuition is pinging you in new directions of like, oh, maybe I'll get out my crayons and play for a little while. So just starting with like noticing and appreciating what is, and then being open as that intuitive guidance starts to lead you to what's next.
Okay, that is so cool because I love that you connect these other elements of the day that you might not necessarily immediately think like, oh, this is an example of me being creative or me expressing myself. I might just think, oh, this is me having fun. But the idea of having fun and expressing yourself, they kind of go hand in hand, it would seem.
Absolutely. Or like calling your congressman, right? Like anytime you're using your voice or like, yeah, taking up space in the world and getting dressed in the morning, right? It's all creative acts. Yeah. There's this like Julia Cameron quote. I think it's from one of her follow-up books to The Artist Way, where she's like, this is not me hating on like high art, like HIGH art. It's me telling you just for a little while to practice just saying hi art, like lowering the standard.
Oh, that's so funny. I've never heard that quote before, but I like it a lot. Um, so what I kind of thought of when you were talking about changing from the quality of art that you're producing to the quantity of art through the Shitty Art Challenge. I don't know if you've seen sort of the discourse online lately about the concept of oh my gosh, what is the word? Talent really just being practice. And so that like immediately came to mind when you started talking about really just pushing through the quantity. So do you think that the Shitty Art Challenge would also be a good opportunity for somebody who simply wants to try a new creative outlet to start exploring and almost sort of what's the word I'm thinking for? Kind of like jump into it a lot quicker. That's not like what I wanted to say, but I think you know what I'm trying to say.
Totally. Ira Glass talks about it in terms of closing the gap, right? Like as
Mm,
creators, we get into it because we have, like, we know we have taste, we know what we like, but what we're capable of, there's a gap between what we like and what we can do. So yes, doing the shitty art challenge, right? I suggest shooting for 100 pieces of shitty art in 30 days, which is like sounds crazy, but really you can make a piece of shitty art in like 10 minutes or less. It will definitely help you to start closing that gap. And it works for things outside of creativity too. Like if you want to go to the gym and like are like I'm not good at it yet. Well, that's okay. Just go in, log a shitty workout. It could literally just be walking around the weights to like suss out what you're gonna do next time. Um, yes, I think that it could definitely help close the gap. Or I know it does because it has for me, it has for people I've worked with.
yeah, absolutely. It acts as a, like you said, a container of really just giving yourself permission to be bad, to be not even bad, but like to be new at something, giving yourself permission to say, I am trying, and this doesn't have to be the best it can be, but I'm giving it sort of my best in this moment, whatever that looks like.
Totally. And I know it sounds oxymoronic, but some of like my best, most favorite pieces have come from me, like again, going in with, I don't care if it's bad. I just want to like see what happens when I do this because I think that something energetically happens inside of us when we say, like when we let go of our like tight grip around excellence and just say, I'm willing for this to be shitty. And then we're also then allowing ourselves we're willing for it to be like wonderful, right? It's like two sides of the same coin. Whereas like if we're only willing for it to be excellent, what often happens is, right, we stress ourselves out, the more creative parts of our brain go offline, like we set ourselves up for mediocrity in that way, I think.
Absolutely. And you bring up such a good point of sort of that letting go. It like creativity and emotions. I feel like there's such an interesting sort of blend in this work and in your larger skill work as a creative coach. So I'm really curious what your experience has been, either specifically from the Shitty Art Challenge or more broadly as a creative coach, when people start to hit this intersection of their emotions and their creativity.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll speak from my personal experience of like growing up and well into early adulthood, right? I had this idea that certain emotions were ugly, right? Were bad. And so not allowing myself to like feel them or metabolize them, but just kind of suppressing them. And then they would, of course, get louder or come out sideways. And I think the same is true with our art. Like when I've become more rigid around like what is and isn't acceptable, it's just very like exhausting, right? Like all of that energy is just trying to like muffle down what isn't good and only present in a singular way. And so I think that there is really something to be said about, and this is one of the first things I start to work with in people, is like developing a practice where you're checking in with yourself throughout the day and just observing your emotional state without giving meaning to it, giving it a name, just like acknowledging like it is safe to feel this, is like natural to feel this. Not, telling ourselves stories about like I'm bad because I feel this. It goes hand in hand with like making something that like a past version of you would consider subpar or mediocre and being like, you know what? Like this is just like it's safe to make mediocre art sometimes. It's safe to, it's natural. Anyone who shows up to create, it's like literally just the physics of creativity, right? Like half of what we make is going to be great and half of it's going to be meh. And that's just the game that we're
Yeah,
playing.
exactly. It reminds me of I am a runner, and
Mm.
there's this sort of idea of like the rule of thirds. I'm sure this applies in other areas too, but it's like a third of your runs are going to be fine, a third of your runs are going to suck, but a third of your runs are going to be incredible. You're going to feel so energized. They're going to be like everything just hit exactly where they were supposed to. And it's that sort of okay, not everything is going to fall into the one third category of excellence, like exactly like you said earlier, it's just not sustainable. And so giving yourself really that like permission and sort of setting the expectation almost of like, not everything has to be this, but I have to allow the relationship between the three of them to coexist so that I am balanced.
Mm, I love that. I have never heard of that. I'm gonna be like using that because the half and half kind of felt like not fully true, but third, like that feels much more true, right? Some is shit, some is mediocre, and some is wonderful. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that.
awesome. It's so funny how these sort of ideas and principles, they really just apply to everything. It's so interesting to see how interconnected everything is because I'm sure there are people out there right now who maybe don't identify as an artist or a creative, but they're totally hearing like, oh my gosh, I don't necessarily give myself permission to have a bad workout, to go for a bad run, to, do whatever it is where they express themselves, which they might not even recognize as being a little bit creative, but to really now sort of start to wrap their head around the idea of like, oh, I don't have to be at 100% all of the time. That's really actually not sustainable. So that brings up a really a totally different question that I have, but I'm curious, you post a lot on social media. You really share a lot of these messages, and I find it inspiring. I love seeing your content. I'm curious what type of responses you get when you talk, about sort of all of these concepts, but even specifically the shitty art challenge and this idea of giving yourself permission to, you know, let things fly as they will, not going for excellence, but really going for quantity.
Yeah, I mean, I would say by and large, the response is like a breath of fresh air. Like often, especially with women or folks who are socialized as women, eldest daughter kind of energy, right? Like folks who have had like a lot of pressure put on them, put on themselves, tend to find it liberating. Like I'm working with a friend right now who's writing her first book, and she's like, I show up so much more to write because I've given myself permission to let it be shit some days. Um, so by and large, really great response occasionally, and it's almost exclusively from men, which I think is interesting. I will get the response of like, well, I don't think anything that I make is shit, or even like it would be sad for me to think that what I make is shit. Um, and I think that probably part of that is because in our culture, under patriarchy, right, men are much more likely to take creative risk, right? They're like
Mm.
40, 50% qualified for a job and they like go for it. Why the hell not? Whereas women, because of history, because of a confluence of things, we put a lot more pressure on ourselves because society puts a lot more pressure on ourselves. And so I think it makes sense that women tend to feel more liberated by it. And men kind of look at it sideways, like, wait, what? I mean, that's like a generalization, but that is what I have found. Yeah.
That's so interesting. I never even thought of that, but that is really interesting to think about how some people, it sounds like in your experience, men have been like, oh, why would I think that what I make is bad? We all need to start thinking a little bit more like that, I think.
Yeah, Elizabeth Gilbert in Big Magic writes about that, right? Like writes about how this trait in men, sometimes it does go right, right? Sometimes leaders do need to be more qualified than 40%, for instance, but how it can be helpful to take on that kind of like creative audacity, or I think she talks about it as like the arrogance of belonging, which I think is
Ooh.
someone else's phrase, yeah, that she borrows.
I love that. I love that. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm feeling so inspired. All of my creative juices are flowing. And so, as sort of a final closing pitch for the Shitty Art Challenge, what is your elevator pitch to recommend to people that they try this sort of releasing of expectations and allowing themselves to create?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would say if you are someone who has these ideas, but who finds yourself spiraling in them, right? Who wants to plan them out or talk about them ad nauseum to the point that they never get started. If you are someone who knows that you have a creative itch somewhere inside of you, but struggles to just, again, give it a container, test it out. It's a free challenge, right? You can get the download, the PDF for free. Take it for a spin, see how it goes. I like to treat it like an experiment. Who the hell knows what will happen for you? But if you want to get out of your head and down onto the page, give it a shot. It's helped me.
I love that. Okay, I am signing up for the Shitty Art Challenge today because I definitely need that kick in the butt and I need also that release of this perfectionism because I know that that's something that I am working to let go of. So I I could really use the 30-day sort of cleanse almost.
Oh, I love that. I love that idea. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, this has been an incredible conversation. I'm sure that everybody who's listening or reading is just getting ready to, they're breaking out their colored pencils, they're breaking out their cameras, they are moving and grooving to create their own shitty art.
Yeah, that's the goal. Thank you so much for having me. It was a treat.
Of course. And now we get to move into the baker's dozen. 13 quick question and answers for people to get to know you a little bit better. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's have it.
All right. If we hit play on your phone right now, what would we hear?
Hmm. Oh my gosh. It depends, but probably what is it called? It's a gray book with a circle on the front, the Rick Rubin. What is that book called? It's on my Spotify playlist. I'm blanking. Oh, here. Can I just grab it?
Yeah,
It's right here. I've been listening to a few things. I've been listening to Rick Rubin's book. I've been listening to all on Spotify, A Happy Pocket Full of Money,
yeah.
and Dochi recommended that one.
That's a good
And
one.
where where did my Rick Rubin go? Well, I guess it's not right on my phone. So actually you would see Amy Bradley is missing part one, according to Spotify.
Got to get this Spotify confirmed.
Okay, so there we are. Oh, it's The Creative Act by Rick Rubin, but I mean, obviously, Amy Bradley has taken precedence. That Netflix documentary.
Appetizer or dessert?
Oh, all the appetizers. Like, let's just share all of them.
Who would play you in a movie about your life?
That's a great question. I have no idea. Um, yeah, maybe like this is like a dream casting, right?
Yeah,
Rachel Nielsen, let's say.
perfect. If you weren't a creative coach, what job would you want?
Hmm. I think in another life it would be really fun to be like a pastry chef,
Ooh, yeah.
like in Paris or like a little coastal town like where I live. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's fun. I love that. What advice would you give your 10-year-old self?
Hmm. That it's safe to feel your feelings, that your feelings don't mean anything good or bad about you, that you're just an animal and animals have emotion and it's safe, and to find people around you that believe how you feel and that don't make you feel bad for it.
I think all
Yeah.
of our inner 10-year-old selves need to hear that.
Yes. I know. I know.
Okay, so in a similar vein, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
Oh, let's see. Gosh, 20-year-old Ashley. I mean, she was already traveling, so I love that about her. Yes, keep traveling. Hmm. Okay, I would tell her because she's still in school, right? So I would tell her, take a step back. Let's do a little evaluation of are you pursuing your career because you want it or because you think that you are supposed to want it? And if you're just doing it out of a should because like you're supposed to, again, take a beat back and consider, the world is your oyster. What do you want to do? Like what actually brings you life? Uh, yeah, maybe I would have pursued making art full time and coaching a decade or so sooner.
Again, advice I think that all of our inner 20-year-old selves need to hear. Is there a gadget you can't live without?
Oh my God, my phone. I have a personal device and I have my business device. My personal device does not have any social media, does not have email. And I love that. I like have a ritual with getting out my business phone and putting it up. And then also to my personal device, I actually have space on it for photos of like friends and good meals and not just time lapses of me painting, you know?
That's great discipline, having nothing on your personal phone, but truly letting it be personal.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, for the past few years I've done that and it's great if you can swing it for sure.
I love that. What song would you want to hear on your deathbed?
Oh my God. Oh my God, that's so hard. Ah, hmm. You know what? Okay, there is this song by Band of Horses. Um, they have an album that I just love the entire album, but like the song that's coming to mind is Weed Party. And I got the album as a 16-year-old, fell in love with it. When I moved to Maine a few years ago after traveling around to different spots, I was in a thrift shop and that song came on and it just kind of every time I hear it, it feels like it kind of like connects the disparate like parts of myself and threads of my life. And I just think yeah, that would be a really joyful song to hear on my way out.
Oh, it's
Because
the
of,
all
yeah,
this.
because of the meaning and like the not the meaning of the song, but like the meaning of who I've been when I've listened to it, you know?
Yeah, the synchronicity of it all.
Yeah, for sure. Invisible thread and all that. Yeah.
I love that. Okay. Do you have a bad habit?
Do I have a bad habit? I mean, I do love a gummy at night, a half gummy. I like the ones that are like a mix of CBD and THC, because again, it cuts down on the THC. And yeah, I love half a gummy.
What would be the title of your autobiography?
Mm. Woman-ish, I think.
That's good.
Woman-ish. Yeah, I'm like a demi woman, so I'm like, woman-ish.
That's very good. What is something that you're currently loving?
TikTok. So I've had like my account for a little while and I've mostly posted, as I've grown my business on Instagram. But this past year, Instagram has just felt like stale, not as much like conversation. And so a few months ago, I like decided to lean in to posting more often on TikTok. And it's just so fun. Like I met new friends. I've like watching other creatives like do the damn thing. It just has a lot more magnetism around it at the moment. So that's been really fun.
That's awesome. And it's so nice to be able to pivot like that, to feel the that you are in a position where you can pivot and make it work for you.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, like, right, marketing just needs you in front of people. And so it can be on the apps, it can be in a million different ways. We don't have to close ourselves in.
I love that. What are three things that you would bring if you were stranded on a desert island?
Oh my God. Well, like, I'm like a phone to call for help. Water, because hydration, babes. Let's see. I guess a phone, I would also have like access to entertainment. So phone, water. I mean, I guess you have to have snacks. These are all very practical things. I'm not normally a practical person, but I'm like, maybe if I had like a picnic basket of snacks, I could be sustained until someone could get me the hell out of Dodge because it would be really cute for like an afternoon. But then, yeah.
Oh, that's funny. All right. And question number 13, what is something that you've never done that might surprise people to find out about you?
That I've never done.
Mhm.
Mm, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Let's see. What have I not done that I want to do? So I have not yet had a institution solo painting show. My first institution solo show was in photography, which is like not my main medium, but I've been a photographer forever. It's just like a fun side hobby. So yeah, I've not yet had a institution solo painting show. So I look forward to that.
Yes, we will manifest that for you.
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
Ashley, this has been an incredible conversation. I am feeling so creatively energized, and I'm sure that everybody who is reading along or watching this is as well. So, how can people connect with you? Where can they find you, either to find out more about the Shitty Art Challenge, your creative coaching, your own artwork, all of the things that you are doing that help you feel creatively fulfilled?
Yeah, you can find me on the socials for my art at Ashley Trabue. I'm sure we'll have it spelled out somewhere. And then also for creative coaching or the Shitty Art Challenge, you can find me at Creative Self Love Club, exactly how it sounds or spelled like it sounds. In there, you can find the link for the Shitty Art Challenge or for coaching cohorts, all of the fun things.
Yay! Oh,
Yeah, thank you so much.
oh, this has been so fun. Thank you so much for your time today, Ashley.
Oh, yeah, it was a treat. Thanks again, Katie.
Thank you.